The night felt heavy, not because of the rain, not because of the silence, but because, for the first time, I realized I was loving someone who could leave me without even turning back. You ever miss someone who's still alive, still online, still posting stories, but slowly disappearing from your life? Yeah, that kind of pain. It destroys you quietly. And the scary part? Nobody notices. Because outside, you still smile, still laugh, still reply with, "I'm okay." While inside, your heart is begging for one text, one call, one sign that you still matter. I met her on an ordinary night. Nothing magical, nothing cinematic, just a random conversation. A simple hey. Funny how one small word can change your entire life. At first, she was just comfort, then peace, then addiction. I started waiting for her messages like they were oxygen. Every notification made my heart race. Every good night felt personal, and every time she disappeared suddenly, my chest felt empty. I never told her how much power she had over me because I was scared. Scared that if I loved too loudly, I'd lose her faster. So I stayed quiet. And people think silence is easy. It's not. Silence is watching someone become your entire world while pretending they're just another person. She once asked me, "Why are you always awake so late?" I almost told her, "Because sleeping means spending hours without you." But I laughed instead, because some truths sound too pathetic when spoken out loud. And maybe that's what love is. Turning pain into jokes, turning tears into late-night playlists, turning loneliness into "I'm just tired." She had this habit. Whenever she was sad, she'd disappear. No explanation, no goodbye, just silence. And every time she vanished, my mind turned into war. Did I do something wrong? Is she losing feelings? Did someone else make her happier? I hated myself for overthinking. But how do you stay calm when the person holding your heart starts pulling away? I remember one night I stayed awake until 5 a.m., staring at our old chats, reading conversations like they were memories of someone already gone. And maybe that's when I realized I was no longer talking to her because it made me happy. I was talking to her because losing her terrified me. That's the dangerous thing about attachment. At first, it feels like home. Then one day, you notice your happiness depends on someone else's attention. And suddenly, their silence controls your mood. Their replies control your peace. Their distance controls your sleep. I wanted to tell her everything. How her voice made bad days easier. How her smile could calm storms. Inside my head, how even her name felt safe. But every time I tried, fear stopped me. Because once you confess, everything changes. Either you gain them or lose them forever. And I wasn't ready for either. So instead, I loved her quietly, in hidden ways, by remembering small details, her favorite songs, her random mood swings, the way she typed when angry, the way she said, "I'm fine," when she clearly wasn't. I noticed everything. Because when you truly love someone, you study them, not intentionally. Your heart just does it naturally. One night, she sent me a message. "Promise me, you'll never leave." And God, I wanted to say, I'd stay, even if you broke me. But instead, I replied with, "Always." Funny word, always. People say it so easily, as if forever is guaranteed. But forever is fragile. One misunderstanding One dry conversation, one moment of distance, and suddenly, two people who once talked all night become strangers again. The saddest part, sometimes relationships don't end with cheating or fighting. Sometimes they end with less effort, less energy, less love, until one person is trying to hold together what the other person already let go of. And maybe that person was me, because lately I could feel her fading. The replies got colder, the conversations shorter, and her absence longer than ever. But I still stayed, because love makes people tolerate the kind of pain they once promised they'd never accept. And maybe that's my confession. I loved her more than I loved myself. And honestly, that was the beginning of my destruction. The worst feeling isn't being blocked, isn't being hated, isn't even being forgotten. The worst feeling is watching someone slowly lose interest while you're still deeply in love. Because there's no exact moment when it ends. No dramatic goodbye, no final warning, just a slow change in energy until one day you realize you're the only one. I'm still trying, and trust me, nothing breaks a heart more quietly than that. I remember the exact night everything started hurting differently. She replied after 9 hours, 9 hours, and still I answered within seconds. Not because I was desperate, but because my heart still treated her like a priority, even after becoming her option. That's the dangerous thing about genuine people. They keep loving, even after noticing the change. I stared at her message for almost 10 minutes, trying to figure out whether she sounded distant or if I was simply overthinking again. Maybe both. Overthinking becomes addiction. When someone gives you inconsistent love, one day they care deeply. The next day, they feel unreachable. And your mind, it keeps replaying memories, trying to find out what changed. Was it something I said? Something I didn't say? Did she meet someone else? Did she get tired of me? Questions. So many questions, but no courage to ask them directly, because deep down, I already knew the answer. People don't suddenly become busy for someone they truly love. They make time, even during chaos, even during pain, even during exhaustion. Real love always finds a few seconds, and hers was disappearing. Still, I stayed. I kept sending good morning texts, even when she stopped sending them first. I kept checking on her, even when she stopped asking if I was okay. I kept choosing her, while slowly realizing she wasn't choosing me anymore. And that realization, it changes you. It makes you quieter, more anxious, more emotionally exhausted. You start pretending you don't care, while secretly hoping they notice your silence. But they rarely do, because people notice effort only when they still value you. One night, I opened our old voice notes and listened to her laughter again. God, that laugh used to heal me. Now it only reminded me of how different things became. Isn't it terrifying how someone can go from being your safest place to becoming the reason you can't sleep? I wanted to hate her. I tried, but love doesn't disappear just because someone changes. Sometimes your heart keeps holding on, even after reality already let go. That's why moving on isn't easy. You're not just losing a person, you're losing routines, dreams, future plans, all the imaginary moments you secretly created inside your head. I imagined meeting her someday. I imagined hearing her voice without a phone screen between us. I imagined hugs, long drives, late night conversations, stupid little moments that probably meant nothing to her, but meant everything to me. And maybe that's why it hurts so much, because my heart built a future around someone who was only passing through. The truth is, some people enter your life just to teach you how deeply you can feel, not how long they'll stay. And that lesson, it's brutal. There were nights I almost texted her, paragraphs, begging her to explain why she changed, why she became colder, why I suddenly felt unwanted. But pride stopped me, not ego, just exhaustion. I was tired of forcing conversations, tired of pretending her distance didn't hurt, tired of loving someone who no longer loved me the same way. So instead, I stayed silent. And silence is a terrifying thing, because when two people stop communicating, their memories start speaking louder. Every song reminded me of her. Every late night felt connected to her. Even random notifications made my heart jump, hoping, just hoping, it was her again. But hope can destroy people too, especially when it keeps waiting for something that already ended. I wish people understood this. The strongest hearts aren't the ones who move on quickly. The strongest hearts are the ones who still love deeply. Even after being hurt, and despite everything, I still prayed for her happiness, even if it no longer included me, because real love doesn't suddenly turn into hate. It turns into sadness, quiet sadness, the kind you carry for months, sometimes years, without telling anyone. And maybe that's my final confession. She broke my heart without even trying to, and I still loved her. After every sleepless night, after every dry reply, after every moment, I felt unwanted, because some people, no matter how badly they hurt you, I still feel like home. And maybe that's why I couldn't leave. Not because she asked me to stay, but because a part of me kept believing the girl I fell in love with would come back someday, even though deep inside I already knew she was gone.